Hello, this is Wes Bridle, and this is another Kingdom Calling Economic Update video. It's been about 6 weeks since we did the last one because we had our baby about 4 weeks ago. So we've got a 4-week-old son, and that's a very exciting, all-consuming part of our world. But I'm jumping back into the economic updates because 6 weeks have passed. This is going to be much more the big picture items over the last 6 weeks. I'm not going to get into as much detail as I did. Otherwise, I'll be making 10 videos. So I'm going to shoot 2 videos here back to back that just cover the biggest things that we've seen. This one, I'm going to focus on items with regards to the value of the dollar and also some things about gold that have happened that have been pretty interesting over the last 6 weeks. So let's jump into it. Oh, and all of these videos are follow-ons to the Coming Storm video, which we shot in November 2009. That is really the biggest picture, most important things that you really need to see, and you can watch that video for free. There's a link right by this video to do that if you have not seen it yet. That is really the big picture of what's going to be happening. All these things are just details that are confirming what we told you in November, and so that you really want to go back and see that if you haven't. These are just the small details, although again, this is 6 weeks worth, so there's some pretty big things in today's message. With regard to the dollar, the government said today, actually I'm filming this on Friday, the 27th, I think, and the government said today that GDP slid to 1.6% growth pace, and then Bernanke got out and said that, you know, they'll throw the kitchen sink at any slowdown in growth. He said he owns a monopoly printing press and he'll buy every single slot along that board, and weirdly, with both news, that made the market go up today. So you can read that however you want. Things are going downhill fast, and I think in the next video I'm going to hit just the biggest economic indicators. 2009 was the first year that mandatory spending was equal to tax receipts for the U.S. government. So the amount of money that they have to spend. Now, the current government and even the last President Bush at the very end started spending money at a rapid rate, but all that's discretionary. Even if you get rid of all the discretionary spending that they choose to do, just with the mandatory spending, it is now equal to the amount of tax revenue that they have. So we're in a serious, serious trouble, because even if a radical government came in and drastically reduced taxes, budget spending everywhere they could, we would still be in a big deficit situation. So it's an ugly, ugly situation. There's really no way out, which is what we've been saying for a long time. We just want to make you aware of it because personally there are some things you can do, but big picture, there's no way out. Central banks worldwide are abandoning the dollar, so this is a huge thing. Holdings slipped from 58 to 57% worldwide. So 57% of the world's currency reserves are U.S. dollars. If they should change their mind and dump those, that's a sign of big trouble for the U.S. dollar. The value of our dollar drops dramatically. The story reading this, the person quoted said that it was unexpected given the global environment. It is a little weird because the dollar has been the place people go to for safety, yet in these troubled times they're starting to go away from it. It's a really bad sign for the dollar and something to be aware of. Germany's biggest companies have been unlisted from the New York Stock Exchange. It's just another sign of the problems of this company. We've got so much red tape in the direction our government has been going for decades that whereas foreign companies used to want to list on the New York Stock Exchange to get exposure, there's an article put out by Spiegel in Germany showing that many German companies are pulling back. They don't want to list here anymore because it's so expensive to abide by all our rules. They said, hey, you can come invest in our company in Frankfurt. We have an exchange. It's just another really bad sign about what's going on in this country. China's treasury holdings dropped about $100 billion in the last year. Massive, massive amount. That's the country that lends us the most money that we need to have these huge deficits that we have. They've dropped their holdings $100 billion in the last year. They've been buying more Japanese and Korean debt. They've openly said that it's risky for them to hold so much U.S. dollars. Again, a very bad thing for us. Let's see, Japan, again, also selling treasuries. And so if you wonder who's making up the difference, the United Kingdom. Now, that's a little odd because they're broke too. But somehow they have doubled their holdings in the last 6 months. So if that's a little strange to you, it is a little strange. It seems like there's some funny stuff going on there. The Chinese Academy member Yu Yongding said, "I do not think U.S. Treasuries are safe in the medium and long run." The IMF has a new global currency that they are working on called the Bancor. Apparently Keynes wrote about this. And so if you've heard people talk about a one world currency and a one world government, the IMF is actively working on this. They would have a new global central bank that administered this. So interesting things in the works. The US dollar has shown strange signs lately. It's been falling on flight to safety days. So on days when normally people run towards the dollar because they're scared, they've been running away from the dollar. Again, a huge warning sign, red flag about what's coming. China passed the U.S. This didn't really fit anywhere else, so I'll put it here. China has passed the U.S. as the world's biggest energy consumer. So just a big sign of kind of changing times. They're consuming more energy than we are now. No one wants to cause. Oh, this is just my final analysis on the dollar. No one wants to cause the dollar to crater. The whole system's built on that, and it's going to be hard for anyone when and if that happens. However, if you're holding a lot of dollars, as many companies and many countries do, and all of a sudden you've become convinced the dollar's going to fall in value, then it behooves you to dump yours first. So it's a weird game because no one wants to start the stampede because the system going down is going to hurt for anybody. But if you become a believer in the fact that it's going to happen, if you dump yours first, you're going to get more money out than if you're left holding dollars after other people have dumped theirs. So that's just an interesting problem that many countries have, and we're in this weird waiting game. It's going to be worse, of course, for us that spend U.S. dollars and hold U.S. dollars. U.S. Financial regulations will force every small business. This is about the financial reform bill. Just a couple more things since the video I made about that. There's a part that says every small business will have to issue 1099s for any purchase over $600. This is on the road to the value-added tax, I think. Very scary proposition for our country. Again, a lot of red tape, which is bad for business, and a lot of new taxes. And not good for, we pride ourselves on privacy, that there's nothing private about that. And then the SEC was excluded from the Freedom of Information Act. If that's not bizarre, I don't know what is. The SEC, who administers all things financial, apparently they are too powerful or important to have their information public. Now, there's been some backlash against that, and maybe that's being changed, but that was in the law that came out. Mortgage rates, the good news, are at an all-time low. If you haven't refinanced your house, if you can get a 30-year, 4.5% or less mortgage, that is fantastic. Do that. And then just a few words on gold. China is developing their own gold market. They're allowing Chinese banks to sell and foreign companies to import gold into China. It appears they're consuming all the gold that they produce, and they're now the world's biggest producer. And so they're trying to bring more and more in. Hugely bullish for gold. The Bank of International Settlements had the biggest gold swap in the history of the world, like 308 tons, I believe, 308 tons, which was mysteriously similar to the amount of gold that Portugal held. They said they did it with a commercial bank. There's no commercial bank in the world that has that much gold. There's some funny business going on there. It's cracks in the system. And so, again, warning signs. New gold ETFs in Japan look ready to take off. Indian banks are petitioning the Indian government. They want similar deals to what China has. Hugely bullish signs. And then the World Gold Council said trends show that physical gold demand in the second quarter of this year grew 36%. In dollar terms, at 77%. Hugely bullish. So I hope that was informative. Thank you for watching this video. Again, if you haven't seen The Coming Storm, you really need to watch it because this is a very important time and you need to know about these things. And thank you. I'll be with you here in another video in just a second. God bless you.